Shut down AI right now is what this man, Elon Musk, and many other well-known figures in the space are wanting to happen. And the craziest part is the image looking at right now, if you guessed it, is AI generated. Also, this one's AI generated, as well as this one. Now, this might have been easier to notice, but the general overview of the advancement in AI has gotten to a level where these well-known figures are starting to get worried. So let's deep dive into the details on why they want to stop AI. Now, here from Wired.com, these well-known figures, they want AI labs to pause the training of AIs that are more powerful than GPT-4 and also including the currently being trained GPT-5 for at least 6 months. And these are some of the people such as Elon Musk, founder and CEO of Twitter, as well as other popular companies, Skype co-founder, and other people that were pioneers in modern AI technology. Now, the question is, 6 months? Not too sure how that's going to do much. However, let's look into more detail. So here's the actual letter that they want to pause these AI experiments, and essentially they want it for 6 months, and at the time we have 1,344 signatures. Now, the funny thing is, this is quite a few little paragraphs, and if you are in today's world, nobody really needs to read anything if they have AI. So what I'm going to do is copy this into ChatGPT-4 and tell it to summarize it for us so that we can save some time. So here I have access to GPT-4, and all we need to do is paste that link here, summarize this for me, and then hit enter, and GPT-4 will do its magic. Now, if you guys haven't seen the upgrades from GPT-4, GPT-3, definitely see that video on my channel, and you can see the levels that it is at the current date. So here is the GPT-4 summary. And fun fact is they can actually read links if you weren't aware. So imagine GPT-5 when it comes out if they don't pause anything. So basically, the letter name, urge the AI community to pause large-scale AI experiments such as the recent deployment of a powerful AI language model. The letter emphasizes the potential dangers and unintended consequences of deploying such large-scale AI systems without adequate safety measures and public engagements, and it calls for collaborative effort among researchers, essentially big-name people in the world, to essentially pause this AI. So what I'm curious is, what are some of the biggest dangers and threats of AI becoming too powerful? And do share thoughts in the comments below of some things that you think are very dangerous regarding AI and that might be reason for it to stop. I have a few in my head, which you even saw in the beginning of the video, is fake pictures, videos, you name it, of potentially well-known figures, and then at that point, information you might not even know is legit or not, because if you aren't familiar with the AI space, you might believe everything you see on the internet. So literally, without even noticing, the first point they put out is misuse. So deep fakes, disinformation, and they also include additional things such as cyber attacks, propaganda, and other information, basically fake information and harmful or misleading information. Second, unintended consequences. So let's see here. Unpredictable behavior and can cause unintended harm. So that's interesting. That is something that I feel like if you're more technical in the space, then you can understand, because for the normal person who doesn't understand programming, it's very difficult to really notice anything, and they're just like, oh, it's just code and it does stuff. However, what if the AI takes over and becomes more advanced than they ever thought? Then that's something obviously someone more technical could deep dive into. Number 3, concentration of power. So development and control in highly advanced systems could become concentrated in the hands of few organizations. Okay, so that's an interesting outlook. that certain groups or companies, people, whatever you want to call it, could become the top, essentially own and control everything regarding AI, which possibly, I mean, looking at the current upgrades, if you guys seen the progress of videos I've created, certain companies have essentially taken the top of the AI current softwares and then put it into their software and made it super advanced to where there's no need to use the other programming. And also job displacement, that's a big thing. Could lose your job, automate it, which, I mean, that's already happening in today's world with robotics, cashiers getting replaced, automation in self-driving cars, trucks, etc. AI arms race. So this one's interesting regarding countries. So for most people, that's probably not an issue of you, but if you do happen to notice that, definitely could impact. Loss of privacy. That is, I mean, in today's world, everything is digital, so I mean, it's not too crazy. Lack of accountability. That's something interesting to deal with regarding, I'm sure, the use of AI. And then the last one, existential risks. So in the worst case scenario, the development of AI, AGI essentially, without proper safety precautions, could lead to and this is funny, I'm making this right now, talking about pausing AI, and literally GPT-4, today as I was using it, just doesn't complete the responses. So maybe they actually paused the AI, because last night too wasn't working so well. So that's funny. It literally stopped as I'm making a video about pausing. So hey, we'll just leave it at that, and let's take a look at the other thoughts from other well-known people in the space. So here's a tweet from the man himself, Elon Musk, and this was on March 27th, so a few days back. And he says that basically, given that modern AI can solve any prove you're not a robot tests, it's not trivial to spin up 100k human-like bots for less than a penny per account. So this is regarding Twitter and talking about the paid verification increases the bot cost by 10,000%. It makes it much easier to identify bots by phone and CC clustering. And he ends it with the obvious conclusion: paid account social media will be the only media that matters. So essentially, from my understanding, and obviously the tweets, he's just talking about how current AI can bypass a lot of current issues that prevent people from gaming the system essentially, and that his way of paying would basically filter out a lot of people, because you're not going to pay 1,000 accounts, for example, $8-10 unless you know obviously you have an income. But for majority of people, that doesn't even make any sense, which would reduce a lot of fake accounts, it's misinformation, and then obviously other related things regarding Twitter, but that could go translate into other social medias as well. And now some other insights from Andrew NG, and he is the founder of Coursera, in case you guys have not know, or co-founder, and basically he was former head of Baidu, AI Group, and Google Brain. So this man is well known. He also is very smart as well, and Coursera is a very successful company. And this is his thoughts on the so-called 6-month banning, pausing of GPT, and why it's a terrible idea. And essentially he says there's so many new applications being built that are making life so much easier, which makes sense. And he says there's no realistic way to implement this to stop all teams from scaling, which again, that is something that I was also thinking in the back of my head, is how do you actually stop this, right? You can't really, how are you, who's going to stop it, or what is going to happen? Because either way, outside of the US, there's countries with different laws that could do whatever they wanted in their country as long as they have no stopping. And at that point, it's like, who's going to really stop anyone, right? And then responsible AI is important, and AI has risks. And they say that the narrative is AI companies are running amok, shipping unsafe code. So basically they're saying that these AI is having essentially not safe code, which again, I can't really say too much on that or not, because I don't know this behind the scenes nor have any information regarding that. And then they say 6 months doesn't make sense. To advance AI safety regulations would be more practical, make a bigger difference. And basically, from what I've seen as well, 6 months is 6 months, but that is a long time. So the fun fact is GPT, or essentially ChatGPT I should say, was released November 30th of 2022. So right now, as I'm filming, it's the 30th of March. So the fact that technically we can just round this up to December. So let's just say it starts in December up to today, which is March, end of March, That's literally 4 months. 4 months, December, January, February, March. 4 months, and GPT-4 has been levels above anything we've ever seen before. Also accounting for the fact of these other programs, Midjourney, etc., you name it, it's insane. And then you can see the history. GPT-3, which was clearly not that popular mainstream or as advanced as GPT-4, was back in 2020. So they have been working on this for quite a while. It's just now, since ChatGPT came out, it's become much more mainstream popular. And GPT-4 on March 14th. So literally 2 weeks ago, as the date of this current video, GPT-4 was announced. And the levels it is above compared to anything I've ever seen is mind-boggling. So if GPT-5 will continue and progress, and let's say they launch this in a couple months from now, it's going to be scary, the progression that it continuously goes up and up and up and up to where there's not really a peak. It just becomes more and more advanced to where who knows what's going to happen. And then also DALL-E, which was back in 2021. So it's been out for quite some time. But the overall, it seems the view is some people have the benefits, but then there's also the big boys out there saying it's very dangerous. So only time will tell. We'll have to see what happens. But if you do want to keep up with the latest AI news and updates, softwares, programs out there, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And thank you for watching.